Hey guys, head on to the Welcome Cameron Star Show. I'll tell you real quick about what's going on this week and a few days have been going on. Jimmy Graham signed a 1-year deal to the Saints, a tight end. I thought, normally they would keep Mr. Reliable. I forgot that guy's name. That's his tight end and his quarterback at the same time. Tyson Hill. But now you have another veteran tight end going into the process into the lineup for the Saints, and I think they get Derek Carr, a very good tight end, and I think he's been out for a year, or he's been playing for last year. I think for the Bears or somewhere with some organization. But that's what happens. I mean, it's you're at the age where you still got the same shape you had when you were in playing in Seattle in his early years. And we're talking about Justin Herbert's $232 million 5-year contract for the Chargers. Kind of interesting. That is a pretty big money payday if you're the Chargers. So that's too much. I would be happy from $235 or $98 million, but $232 million. God, what's their salary cap is? They can't sign anybody to be on their roster. You only got Eckler and a few others, wide receiver wise. I mean, there's the same wide receivers. I mean, they probably added maybe a cool wide receiver for the Chargers from TCU. I heard a little article about TCU got 3 Alabama transfers and helped push them to the college football playoffs. Interesting to me. They had a shot last year. They beat Michigan. That was a surprising last year. What Harbaugh has done, and then they couldn't beat Georgia. I don't know what it was with Georgia, why they couldn't offend Georgia. I don't know. Their defense was they're lacking on defense or something, but they were lacking last year, and then they got 3 transfers for that. And speaking, guys, I'm going to change this podcast to Cameron Sauer Show, not Cam Sports Fan. I'm sorry about that. That's still on there. I'm going to change it sooner or later when I get home, and I'm going to my computer change it and put that back on YouTube. Change the address. If you like to, I got a new subscription out. If you want to read it, and please subscribe to this channel. We're going to do some things this year. Poke, Scott, and I'll be on their podcast for punch situations, but also it'll be on mine. We'll do a 2-way strip here. Not strip. It's 2 streak. It's 2 streaks here. But other than that, we'll talk about the upcoming Colorado Buffaloes. They just signed the papers today to be written paperwork for the big change order from the Pac-12 to the Big 12. And so, will that just everybody else? And I think, you look at Nebraska, mainly, if you're a Nebraska fan, you want to see Nebraska be in a league for years to come. And I think they could be back in the Big 12. And I think they can write out a letter to the Big 12 commissioner and be part of the Big 12, and maybe a 15-team team conference. And really, in my understanding, you really don't need a division to separate 14 teams. And I was kind of like about Big 12, but the Big 10, they kept everything normal. Like 2 schools going to the Big 10 championship game, 1 and 2, playing against each other again. Now, as for the Big 12, they can do the same thing. Don't need a division, don't need that. Just go with strict 1 and 2 seeds playing in the Big 12 championship game. SEC got divisions. And same thing with the Pac-12. Now your Pac-12 is going to go very going slim. Now where the Pac-12 is going to get some schools. Where are they going to go? I mean, the first thing I think North Texas is a candidate for either the Big 12 or the SEC or, the Pac-12. And I just don't think North Texas has the players and to go to the Pac-12. But now since it's slimming down, USC, UCLA, USC is going to play in the Big 10, and you got Colorado playing in the Big 12. Now you're really thinking about moving it closer to the West. And why I'm saying that is, when you look at this, it's kind of odd to see. But if you make a decision to make this happen, if you bring the North Texas, Boise State, you bring in the San Diego State, those schools, and really if you want to make you got to delete the 3 that are out, and you try to keep the Pac-12, that's a Power 5 team. So, if you want to keep that in line and keep it right there, I mean, we'll talk about more later when I get to my podcast room. We'll talk about more, and we'll talk about Jason Aldean's video. And now, guys, before I say anything, I'm gonna put this out. That video I watched it a couple times. It's not racist. It's just talking about small town people protecting their ground. And so, if you want to comment on that, hit me on it, okay? Just hate me, whatever. But if you agree, we'll talk about the video more. But right now I'm on the road. I don't want to talk about it too much. So we'll talk about it later when I get home, after the XRS race tonight. And we'll talk about more about that too. And so, all right, guys. See y'all later. We're talking about more this evening. See y'all then. I'll post this later on. All right, bye.